A gamma ray burst that was dubbed the brightest of all time, so powerful it could have vaporized Earth in an instant, a race against time to spot a distant exoplanet before it disappears behind its star, and an entire galaxy forming in reverse. Did the James Webb Telescope spot an unnatural object out in space? Well, just back in September of this year, there was this wave of excitement online as a rumor spread that the James Webb Telescope had spotted a large moving object about 10 light years away from Earth, possibly an alien spaceship. Now, according to various posts, this mysterious object exhibited an unnatural change in trajectory, leading many to wonder if this was some sort of alien craft or a piece of technology. There were also claims that members of Congress were being briefed about this discovery by the National Security Agency and the US Department of Defense. The details of this briefing were said to be kept under wraps from the public, of course. As this story started circulating, UFO enthusiasts joined the conversation. On September 21st, US Rep. Andre Carson, who had previously led a congressional hearing on unidentified aerial phenomena, was asked about the JWST briefing, but he had no comment, which of course just got people even more curious than before. NASA hasn't released any information about detecting this mysterious object, but could they be covering something up to avoid mass panic? On June 6th of 2018, the Soyuz MS-09 mission launched with 3 astronauts aboard, a Russian commander, an American astronaut, and a German flight engineer. That sounds like the start to a joke, but they were headed to the International Space Station. Now, for a few months, everything went smoothly, but then something unexpected happened. On August 29th, the crew received an urgent message from Mission Control. They detected a small drop in air pressure on board. The crew was mortified by what they found. There was a tiny 2mm hole in the orbital module. Luckily, the crew was able to seal it back up, and the air pressure stabilized again, but there were a lot of questions. Primarily, how did this hole get there? The situation got even more complicated when it was discovered that the hole had been covered up with a poor quality patch and appeared to have been drilled. Russian officials started to suspect that the hole might have been caused by sabotage. They even accused NASA of deliberately trying to harm the mission. Some theories suggested that the hole was drilled from inside the module, leading to speculation that one of the crew members might have done it themselves. There was even a sensational claim from a Russian tabloid that the American astronaut on board had created the hole because of a personal dispute with another crew member, which NASA said was completely ridiculous. To this day, though, it's still a complete mystery as to what actually happened. So what color is Mars? Well, everything is, brownish, orangish, kind of gray, right? Well, that's what we thought until very recently when a bright white rock was spotted on the red planet. NASA's Perseverance rover recently made a pretty intriguing discovery on Mars, a 14-inch high boulder dubbed Ataco Point. Ataco Point stands out not only because of its size, but also, just look at it. It measures 18 inches wide and has a light toned surface speckled with minerals identified as pyroxene and feldspar. It has an unusual size, shape, and arrangement of mineral grains and crystals. It's unlike any of the rocks that surround it. Scientists are debating the origins of Ataco Point. Some think it may have formed outside the area it's sitting in and was transported there by ancient water flows, but of course, we're all kind of hoping the rock just isn't even from Mars originally. As to who brought it there, that's the fun part.
Next up, we have Morse code. Well, not actually Morse code, but also maybe. I'm talking about the Hagel Dune field, located below the North Pole of Mars, discovered in February of 2016. What's cool about these dunes is that they make no sense, unless of course someone or something created them. While the dashes, or lines, in the dunes are pretty standard, created by winds blowing against each other from opposite directions to create a rise in the loose earth, forming the dash dunes, the dots are incredibly peculiar because generally formations like this only appear when something or someone has interrupted the formation of the linear dunes, begging the question, what could have possibly interrupted the formation? The answer is certainly something to look forward to, although I've already got a pretty good guess. Also, if you do read Morse code and there is actually something written within these many dots and dash dunes, let me know what it says down below.
Fast radio bursts are some of the most mysterious signals we've ever detected in space. These bursts of radio waves are so intense and short that they only last a few milliseconds, yet they can release as much energy as the sun does in an entire day. The first FRB was discovered back in 2007, and since then astronomers have been trying to understand where they are coming from. They're often detected in far-off galaxies, and some are repeating, while others only happen once. The weirdest thing is how unpredictable they are. Sometimes the bursts arrive in rapid fire, and other times they seem to just pop up out of nowhere. So, what's behind them? The leading theory is that they come from neutron stars, which are remnants of exploded stars. When neutron stars collide or spin, they release massive amounts of energy, possibly causing these strange bursts. But there are some that are still completely unexplained. The most fun theory, and the one that I really hope is true, is that unexplained fast radio bursts are signals from alien civilizations. Can't say definitely that that isn't the case, so I'm just gonna go ahead and believe that until it's disproved.
In 2023, former NASA astronaut Leroy Chiao, who commanded Expedition 10 and piloted 3 space shuttle flights, they reported a perplexing encounter with 2 unidentified flying objects. UFOs. Yeah, real aliens. This was discovered while piloting his private plane over Texas. At an altitude of 9,000 feet, Chow observed 2 metallic spherical orbs, each approximately 3 feet in diameter, approaching his aircraft. That ought to be terrifying. The orbs passed within 20 feet of his plane, moving at high speeds, and without any communication from air traffic control. This is bizarre. Now, despite the close proximity, the objects did not appear on his plane's radar either. Chow speculated that the orbs might be part of a military drone program, but could not confirm their nature. This incident adds to the growing number of reports of mysterious aerial phenomena, including recent drone sightings in New Jersey and Staten Island, and the Pentagon's release of footage of an unidentified orb in military airspace definitely doesn't help. The incident underscores the need for continued research and open discussion regarding UFOs, especially given the increasing number of reports from credible sources like astronauts and military personnel. Have you ever heard about the Bermuda Triangle, but in space? Yeah, even scarier. It's a region in the South Atlantic anomaly where satellites and spacecraft experience strange malfunctions and disappearances. It's like a cosmic Bermuda Triangle, a place where technology seems to go haywire and vanish all without a trace. Some scientists believe it's caused by intense radiation from the Van Allen belts, which is a region of the charged particles trapped by Earth's magnetic field. Others theorize that it might be a result of dark matter or even extraterrestrial interference, which I'm on board for. Imagine a satellite perfectly functional one moment and then suddenly it loses contact. Its systems shut down one by one as if it were being pulled into a black hole. The strangest part, astronauts who have passed through this region have reported strange occurrences, like seeing strange lights and feeling an eerie sense of dread. Some even claim to have encountered unidentified objects, massive silent vessels that seem to watch their every move. Yeah, almost like a ghost, but in space. It's a scary mystery, a place where the laws of physics seem to bend and break. And the worst part, we're still no closer to understanding what truly happens in the Bermuda Triangle of space.
Okay, this one's not so much dark as it is exciting. I bet you thought that Mars was the most likely planet to inhabit life, other than Earth of course. But if you thought that, you'd be wrong. Or maybe you'd be right, as the most likely place in which life exists within our solar system outside of our own planet isn't actually a planet. It's a moon. More specifically, Europa, one of Jupiter's largest moons. While the presence of oceans beneath its icy surface have been confirmed, it is predicted by scientists and astronomers that deeper still, the moon contains geothermal vents, providing heat to the waters and possibly playing host to thousands of life forms. Some other cool things about Europa is that not only is it covered in oceans, but its waters act incredibly similarly to our own, producing 10 times more oxygen than hydrogen, which combined with all of the other factors in which we have just discussed, make the existence of life on this planet extremely scientifically promising. What do you guys think? Could this be the first case of real aliens coming to us in the form of single-celled organisms? And next on the list we have Lovejoy, the alcoholic comet that wanted a drink so bad it made its own. Not like at the bar, but it literally made its own alcohol, cosmically. Thought to be nothing more than just a regular comet glowing white hot, leaving behind a trail of space dust, Lovejoy has proved itself to be a whole lot more when in 2015 it decided to do a quick fly by the sun. When this happened, the 250-meter comet began doing something that had, until then, never been seen before. It began spewing alcohol at a rate that would satisfy an entire campus of frat houses. It is estimated that the comet released ethyl alcohol at a rate of 500 bottles of wine per second. Now this is already super cool, but it does get cooler, because all jokes aside, along with the ethyl alcohol, the comet also produced large amounts of sugar as well as organic molecules, which, when you mix them all together, are the building blocks of DNA. Another instance in which we are possibly witnessing the beginning stages of life beyond the barriers of our own earthly existence.
Next up, we have the discovery of jumbos. In 2023, the James Webb Space Telescope discovered over 500 rogue planets, meaning they don't orbit a star, in the Orion Nebula. Now, researchers have detected mysterious radio signals from a pair of these rogue planets. These planets are known as Jupiter Mass Binary Objects, or jumbos, which I'm going to call for the duration of this point. James Webb, with its ability to pick up infrared radiation, revealed that about 80 of these rogue planets exist in pairs, dancing around each other at distances ranging from 25 to 400 times the distance from Earth to the Sun. Scientists don't really know what to make of these things right now. In fact, they're not even sure if jumbos are planets or entirely new entities, larger than planets but smaller than brown dwarfs. So this is already strange, but it's gonna bring us to our next mystery. And that is the mysterious radio signals these jumbos were giving off. So in order to understand these strange objects, researchers wanted to see if they emitted radio waves, as different cosmic objects produce unique radio emissions. They looked through archives of observations made by the US National Radio Astronomy Observatory and found that one pair, Jumbo 24, did emit radio waves. This jumbo pair is the heaviest and has the closest spacing between its two planets. The data showed that the radio waves from Jumbo 24 were steady and strong, with a power equivalent to 1/4 of a ton of TNT and frequencies of 6 to 8 gigahertz. But there was something very strange going on. The signals lacked circular polarization, which is the presence of magnetic fields, which you typically have with planets. The radio signals from Jumbo 24 were a bit unusual. They didn't match the patterns you'd normally expect from planets, brown dwarfs, or pulsars. The researchers considered the possibility of signals coming from an object behind Jumbo 24, but said that was highly unlikely. So they're doing more research into this, but as of right now, it's still a complete mystery.
A newly discovered asteroid roughly the size of an Olympic swimming pool has had a small chance of colliding with Earth in 23 years, with a potential impact on Valentine's Day 2046, according to NASA's Planetary Defense Coordination Office. Speaking of Valentine's Day, as you can tell by my look, I'm filming this on Valentine's Day. So happy Valentine's Day to all you amazing people. We all love you here at Most Amazing Top 10. Now back to the talk of an asteroid that could destroy us. Now this asteroid has a 1 in 625 chance of striking Earth based on data projections from the European Space Agency, though NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory Century system calculated the odds are now closer to 1 in 560. Now I gotta be honest, I really don't like those odds. NASA officials have warned that the odds of impact could be dramatically altered as more observations are collected and additional analysis is performed. Often when new objects are first discovered, NASA Asteroid Watch noted, it takes several weeks of data to reduce the uncertainties and adequately predict the orbits years into the future. So by the time it is 2045, it could be directly in our path or vary from it, but I'm hoping that it's far away.
There's also been some recent talk about the James Webb Space Telescope finding signs of life on a distant planet called K218b. But scientists at the University of California, Riverside say the excitement might be a little premature. While we all want to find hard evidence of alien life on a distant planet, at least most of us anyway, it looks like we might have to hold our breaths a little longer. That doesn't mean there isn't interesting news to talk about though. K2-18b is pretty cool. It's about 120 light years away, a super Earth with 8 times the mass of our planet, and it sits in its star's habitable zone. This means it might have water, and where there's water, there very well could be life. The planet also has temperatures that are very similar to Earth's, so that's another good sign. The James Webb also spotted some interesting stuff in its atmosphere, like carbon dioxide and methane. One of the biggest finds was something called dimethyl sulfide, or DMS, which is made by tiny ocean plants. The fact that DMS has been detected in the atmosphere means there could very well be life producing it. Scientists are continuing to observe the planet with different tools on the James Webb to get a clearer picture. They believe that if life does exist there, it might show up in ways we don't see here on Earth. So even though this isn't exactly the news and breakthrough we were hoping for, it's still a step in the right direction in our never-ending search for life beyond our planet.
You know what you really don't want to find while floating on a 460-ton piece of metal floating 408 kilometers away from Earth in the vacuum of space? A chip in the windshield. Well, not exactly the windshield, but the cupola, which is like a dome-shaped observatory made up of primarily windows, one of which has a chip in it. That's not good, especially considering the fact that the cupola is where the astronauts aboard the ISS operate the space station's robotic arms, meaning they spend quite a lot of time in there. And there's a chip in one of the windows, which were all built with some of the strongest materials known to man. I'm talking fused silica and quartz sand melted together by electrical fusion and borosilicate glass, the most thermal shock resistant glass in the world. But of course, all of that was no match for a small piece of space debris, likely measuring in at a few thousandths of a millimeter, that collided with the glass pane at a speed of, in scientific terms, super duper fast. And these super fast debris are everywhere. In fact, there are more than 20,000 pieces of orbital debris larger than 10 centimeters that can currently be tracked by ground radar, and 10 centimeters is a hell of a lot bigger than whatever hit the cupola on the ISS. Now, imagine you're an astronaut out on a spacewalk and one of these 10 centimeter guys comes whizzing towards you. I hate to say it, but I'm pretty sure that would be the last thing you would ever see. Although it would probably be going so fast that you wouldn't actually get to see it, but you know what I mean.
NASA is pretty excited about a hole that was recently discovered on Mars. Now, a hole may not sound all that exciting at first, but the thing is, who knows what could be down there? And potential caves on Mars would be a huge asset for future crewed missions. We could set up bases below ground. NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter captured an image on August 15th of 2022. It was a small pit on the surface near the Arsia Mons volcano. The pit is just a few meters across, but we don't know how deep it is. There have been other pits spotted near Mars volcanoes, and these pits could be entrances to larger underground caverns. With Mars's thin atmosphere unable to shield against space radiation like Earth's, underground caverns would provide shelter for astronauts. And of course, there's the potential for life. On Earth, we have what are called karsts, which form when limestone dissolves, creating networks of caves and sinkholes underground. If Martian pits are anything like karsts, they could have been warm, sheltered places that supported life a long time ago.
Next up, we have the discovery of Mars's 4 seasons, and I'm not talking about the hotel. 4 very uneven seasons, that is, the length of which change depending on where you're located on the red planet. Alright, let's break it down. 1 year on Mars is made up of 668.59 Martian solar days, which equal about 687 Earth days. Basically, making it through 1 year on Mars is the same as making it through almost 2 on Earth. In the northern hemisphere of the planet Mars, spring lasts for 7 Earth months, summer for 6, fall for 5.3, and winter for just over 4. Of course, even with it being summer, the northern hemisphere of Mars never really reaches temperatures exceeding -20 degrees Celsius. In the southern hemisphere, however, things are a bit different. Summers are hot and quick, while winters are drawn out and cold. Extremely cold. The extreme contrast between the 2 hemispheres is what causes those massive dust storms you see on Mars. Not necessarily terrifying, but probably pretty scary scary to witness up close and be a part of. And also, we need to know this stuff if we're planning on moving there someday.
The Great Attractor is a gravitational anomaly in space that scientists are still trying to figure out. This mysterious force seems to be pulling our galaxy, the Milky Way, and many others toward it. The thing is, we can't actually see. It's found in a region of space between the constellations Centaurus and Hydra, hidden behind a huge cosmic dust cloud, so we can't really directly observe what's causing the pull. All we know is that it's incredibly powerful, strong enough to affect galaxies millions of light years away. The force is so intense that it's literally altering the motion of galaxies, dragging them across space. Some scientists think the Great Attractor could be a cluster of galaxies clumped together in a way that's creating a gravitational pull. Others think it could be a supermassive black hole, or something even stranger. Maybe some kind of dark matter concentration that we just don't fully understand yet. Whatever it is, it's something out there that's affecting the universe in ways we just don't understand, and the fear of the unknown makes it one of the scariest mysteries in astronomy.
Okay, this is a mysterious one to me. Robin Coulomb was an astronaut in training at NASA and was in a special 2-year program. He outbeat 18,300 applicants and had many years of schooling and expertise to do so. So hence the reason it was such a shock for the world to learn that he just quit after a little more than a year. According to a NASA spokesperson, it was for personal reasons. Look, I've seen the movies. More than likely, knowing that NASA doesn't have a high turnover rate, Robin more than likely did not quit NASA for personal reasons. We need to get the internet detectives on this case. Did he find out a secret that disturbed him so much that he had to quit? Did he discover that they are really keeping aliens at Area 51? Who knows? My vote is for the latter.
So obviously we know that no people have actually landed on Mars and had a look around, at least that we know of. So the majority of this list is from things seen on Mars rover photos, and some of them aren't actually scary and are more like just hilarious or conspiratorial, but give me a break, I've had a long day, okay. The first image on this list comes from May of this year from the Curiosity rover. The image appears to show an entrance hidden into the side of some Martian rocks. Many people started theorizing that this could have been some sort of door to a hidden alien building underground. The perfect shaping of the hole led many people to believe that it must be something man-made or even alien-made. The naysayers decided that it was caused by a rock breaking off due to an earthquake, but what kind of rock would break off and just leave like a perfect hole like that? So I'm gonna go with aliens.